Hello students, today we're going to talk about the chemical bonding. So before we start regarding a chemical bonding, so what is exactly chemical bonding? So when you talk about the chemical, that means something related to the like for example, in case of hydrogen, we know that hydrogen. Okay, okay. Whenever the hydrogen atom combines with another hydrogen atom, it forms a hydrogen molecule, that is H2, correct? So this is the thing. So what is in between these two atoms or molecule? It's called a bonding. So in this whole chapter we're going to talk about the chemical bonding. So let's start our chapter, that is chemical bonding. So as we move ahead, let's first discover the history of chemical bonding. So our first slide will reveal about the history. So let's start, or let's begin. So the concept of chemical bonding was recognized as early as the 12th century, that certain types of chemical species were joined by the type of chemical affinity. So chemical bonding the discovery of the chemical bonding is start as early as the 12th century. Okay, so this is a point, remarkable point we have to understand. A chemical bond is the result from a strong electrostatic interaction between two atoms. So before we move ahead, let's study about these two topics, that is strong electrostatic interaction and the two atoms. Okay. So let's take example hydrogen because it's quite easy to understand. So let's take example of the hydrogen. Okay. Suppose I'm taking a molecule or atom here plus here. So what I will get is like this. Okay. I will draw the structure. Okay, so now let's name it what I have drawn it. Okay, so let's take another color. So this is representing a hydrogen atom. This is also representing a hydrogen atom. Okay, so when they have add together, okay, then there is a formation of hydrogen molecule. Okay, so what is that exactly? Let's study. See, these are atoms of hydrogen and this is molecule of hydrogen. So in this case what you are observing, that is more important. So what you are observing in this case, whenever there is a hydrogen atom number 1, hydrogen atom number 2 are combined, they form a molecule. Now question arises here, why they are combined? So they have a strong electrostatic interaction. Whenever the word interaction comes, that means these hydrogen molecules, atoms are getting attracted to each other. That is called interaction. And what is the electrostatic interaction? When you electrostatic interaction, here in this whole slide, we're going to talk about two topics. That is rule of a duplet and the rule of a octet. Okay, this is the first slide. So I just want to introduce these two words. Duplets means number of electron present in an outer shell is 2 electron, and octet means number of electron present in outer shell is 8 electron. Whenever there is these two properties or one of the any property, maybe duplet or maybe octet, according to the number of electron, maintains the stability of the atoms and the molecules. So that is called as a strong electrostatic interaction. Now, electrostatic means the interaction of electrons whenever there is a positive or negative charges. So whenever there is a charges, so when you talk about the electrostatic, whenever there are the charges come into the picture, it's called electrostatic. Okay, so in this chapter we're going to study about this. So again I'm repeating in front of you, a chemical bond results from a strong electrostatic interaction between two atoms. Okay, so that is very important point. Now the nature of the atom determines the kind of the bond. So what we are understanding from here, the nature of the atom, how the atom is there, it determines the kind of the bond. So there must be the types of bond. So what are the types of bonds? So let's study this. See, covalent bonds result from a strong interaction between neutral atoms. So here we are studying in this slide what is a covalent bond and when it arises, then whenever there is an electrostatic interaction. So in earlier slide we studied that a chemical bond is happening or chemical bond is formed because of the strong electrostatic interaction between two atoms. Okay, so whenever the two atoms combining or they interact, there is a formation of electrostatic interaction and which result to formation of a chemical bond. The same in this case, whenever there is a neutral atom combines. What do you mean by neutral atoms? Let's study the sodium atom. Okay, I will explain with this diagram. So let's do it first. Okay, suppose this is one atom, this is second atom, and it's form a molecule. So let's give a name it. Suppose this atom is a sodium atom. This atom is a chlorine atom. Whenever they combine, whenever they combine, there is a formation of NaCl. Correct. There is a formation of NaCl. That is a common salt that we know. So what happening in this case? So sodium atom reacting with the chlorine atom to form a NaCl molecule. So here is a covalent bonding. Covalent bonding means what? A sharing of bonds is should be there. But now you will tell me, sir, this can be like a ionic bond also because sodium donate the electron to the chlorine. Yes, correct. So what are the different types or kinds of the bonds? Let's study it further. This is just example I'm giving in front of you. So we will see many examples further. So each atom donates an electron resulting in a pair of electrons that are shared between the two atoms. So what is happening in this case? Okay, so each atom donates an electron resulting in a pair of electrons that share between the two atoms. So one atom sharing its electron to the another atom which forms a bond between them. So this is a criteria in which chemical bond form. So in a covalent bonding, what happening is that one atom donates electron which result in a formation of a bond between two atoms and there is a formation of molecule. So this is the one point we have to understand. Let's move further. Then we understand what is next. In another slide, we are going to find, for example, consider a hydrogen molecule. What we have to consider here, we have to consider a hydrogen molecule. When two hydrogen, that is H atoms, are far apart from each other, they do not feel any interaction. That means if one of the hydrogen atom is present here, one is present here, so there is no any interaction. But whenever the hydrogen atom are close enough, then there is a formation of bonding. So what this reveals that? So this sentence reveals that a strong electrostatic interaction is happen only when two atoms are close enough. Okay, so as they come closer, they feel the presence of each other. So whenever they come closer, then only they feel the presence of the other. So the electron on each hydrogen atom occupies a volume that covers both hydrogen atoms. What is this exactly? We will see here itself. Just I'm reading first. Occupies a volume that covers both hydrogen atom and a covalent bond is formed. Once the bond has been formed, the two electrons are shared by both the hydrogen atom. Let's study or let's discover with the some example. Suppose this is one hydrogen atom, this is another hydrogen atom, and when they combine, what happens? Let's see what happens. If another hydrogen atom is here and now the red one, now they are combined. So they going to combine like this. So now what is that? Let's see. Okay, so let's use this. This is one hydrogen atom. When it get add over another hydrogen atom, it for going to form a hydrogen molecule. Now let's study the this sentence. It occupies a volume that covers both the hydrogen atom. That means what? The volume suppose covered by this hydrogen atom is X. This volume covered by this hydrogen atom is Y. So whenever they combine, they definitely cover X plus Y volume only. So this is exactly meaning they occupies a volume that covers both the hydrogen atoms. So they just come together or they have a contact together, but they share in the same volume, and that covalent bond is formed. So this is actually they have, see, this is overlap of this hydrogen atom and this overlap of these hydrogen atoms. So there is a formation of a covalent bond between these two atoms. So have you studied? So what are the things we are going to talk about in this slide? First, first point that we have to understand is that this bonding formation or this interaction, bond interaction take place only when two atoms are close together. This is first point we have to understand. Okay. Then what is the second point we have to understand? These two, whenever these two atoms combine, they share or they covers both the hydrogen atom. So molecule volume or molecule, what is molecule? Molecule is nothing but what? After the atoms combine. So volume of molecule is equal to addition volume of each atoms. So this is the point we have to understand. Okay, so let's move further. Now, an electron density plot for the hydrogen. What is electron density? See, you can see a wonderful diagram over here. There are some positive charges. There are two positive centers. One is here, one is here. So what are happening in between? These dots are nothing but electron. Why electron density we are talking about? See, electron is revolving around. See how we draw a diagram of any atom. Let's suppose example of the hydrogen atom only. How you draw such a diagram? So at the center it has a nucleus and the electron is revolving. Suppose this is the electron. So what is happening over here? This is the nucleus. This is the nucleus and this is the electron. So what is happening in this case? The electron is revolving around the nucleus. So same in this case, the cloudy part is called a electron density. If you see in actual way, these are actually one atom. This is second atom. See, you can see a denser part at the center, denser part at the center, and this electron is gay. So if you jot down all the points from the periphery, you will get volume like this. So what exactly is this? The two atoms are combining, they will form this structure. The same structure is resembled here. So this is exactly the point we're going to talk about. So an electron density plot for the hydrogen molecule shows that the share of electron occupy a volume equally distributed over the atom. Whatever we have discussed in earlier slide, this is the pictorial view of that statement. So electron density for hydrogen atom, hydrogen molecule. So what's that? let's revise that again thing. The volume for the two hydrogen atom is equal to the volume covered in the hydrogen molecule. So that we have studied here. Okay, so let's move further. Okay, so what we have studied here, we have studied about, see, I'm going to talk about it. We have studied about the atoms combined to form a molecule. Okay, this is our first thing. Then we have studied that whenever we talk about any atom, at the center it has a nucleus, and and at the revolving point is of electron. So we have studied this. Okay, so what happened exactly this? So I'm going to talk about this in this slide only. So let's talk about the another atom. Okay, and let's draw its nucleus again, and let's draw electron over here. Okay, this is electron over here. Okay, so now what is happening here? So let's now suppose this atom 1, it's going to react with this atom 2. So in this case, what going to happen is this. See, this electron is revolving in this direction, this electron revolving in this direction. So whenever they get combined, so what exactly happened? So look at this picture I'm going to draw here. Whenever these two atoms is going to combine, they form structure like this after combination. So what happens with this electron? So electrons are revolving here as well as here. So electron is start revolving like this, and this electron revolving like this. So they form a denser part on this. So whenever they combine, they shared. See, you can see here, you can see here a denser part. So they have, they the two atoms when combined, they overlap on each other. So whenever they overlap each other, that is a area of a higher density, and they actually shared the electrons. Okay, so that we have to study in this case. So let's move further for next things. I hope you understood that whatever we have covered up till now. So let's move further. So what factors? So in this case, we are going to talk about the what factors determine if an atom forms a covalent or ionic bond with another form. So let's study first what is covalent bond, sharing of electron. What is ionic bond? Whenever there is a charges are shared, positive and negative. In covalent bond, only electrons got share. In ionic bond, we're going to talk about the positive charge and negative charge. So these are the points we have to understand. Okay. So the number of the electrons in an atom, particularly the number of the electrons further away from the nucleus, determine the atom's reactivity and hence its tendency to form a covalent or ionic bond. So what is this statement? Okay. What is this statement? Again, we are going to read the number of electrons in an atom, the number of electrons in an atom, particularly the number of electrons further away from the nucleus determines the atom activity. Okay, to understand this, let's have a, okay, so to understand this, let's have a blank space so we can understand that. So what they are talking about, the atom structure is like this. At the center, it has a nucleus, and the electron is revolving around here. So now tell me one thing. In case of many shells are there, we're going to talk about many shells. So these many shells are like looking like this. It can be this as well, or it can be this as well. Okay, so these are showing the electrons which are moving different orbits. Now, tell me, if this is a nucleus which is at the center, so this electron is very far from this nucleus, correct? So what is happening in this case? So this electron, see, if you talk about this electron, this is at distance of this. This electron, this is at distance of this. This electron at distance. So which is the farther one? This is one the farther one. Okay, this is very far from the nucleus. So this is electron which is far from the nucleus is going to responsible or going to show or going to exhibit the atom activity. So why this is so? Why only the outermost electron is going to show the further activity? The reason behind is that is very simple. See, this electron which is very close to the nuclear have a strong force to attract them. Okay, but whenever the electron is start moving or which is in at the larger distance from the nucleus, so nuclear activity is little bit less. So let's take example of your home Wi-Fi. Suppose your connected devices Wi-Fi very close to the Wi-Fi device is very close, then your download speed or surfing speed or viewing of the videos on the YouTube is very easy. But as you move further from the devices, the range of coming from the devices is started diminishing, and that is responsible for what? Because adding devices nearby area, the connectivity is very strong. But as we move further, the connectivity loses. Same happen with your Bluetooth devices. It's very easy to understand, right? So same happen in this criteria also. As the electron is little bit away from the nucleus, so definitely the charge over on that nucleus on that revolving electron is very less, and that electron jump from that orbit to the next orbit, as well as it exhibit the activity of that electron. So that is the exact meaning of that point. I hope you understand right now. So that shows the atom's activity. So now let's move to the third point, that is here. These outermost electrons are the ones that are most likely to feel the presence of other atoms. So already we discussed that point. Whenever atoms are close enough, then only shows the interaction or then only the bonding is happening. And hence the ones involved in the bonding, that is in the reaction. So what is the reference of reaction point here? Whenever the atom are close, they show the activity, that is they involved in the bonding. So chemistry of an element depends almost entirely on the number of electrons, and hence it is atomic number. So what we have concluded from this point is that chemistry of an element is totally depend on what? The atomic number. What is the atomic number? The number of electrons present in that atom is called as atomic number. So on the periodic table, we will see in the further lectures that how the activity changes according to the atomic numbers. So these are the things we have to remember. So what you have to remember, atomic number is nothing but exhibition of the chemistry of an element. Okay, so we have understood this a very important point from this slide. So let's talk about the chemical bond. So what is the chemical bond? When you talk about a chemical bond, is thus defined as the force of attraction that holds various constituents like atoms, ions together. So what is the chemical bond? Is defined as a force of attraction that holds the various constituents like atoms and ions. Now I'm going to ask you some questions. Why the ions is used here? See, we have seen a covalent bonding and we have seen the ionic bonds. So when you talk about the covalent bonding, there is a sharing of electron between the atoms. So that is the one point. Second point, a ionic bond. That is a formation of bond between the ions, positive and negative. That's why the constituent is called as atoms and ions, and that is held together by force of attraction, and that is termed as a chemical bond. The three main types of chemical bond that are formed are: first, ionic or electrovalent bonds. It's called ionic because it contains charges, positive and negative, and it's called electrovalent because it is related to the charges. Second one is a covalent bond, which is again talk as a sharing of electron. It's called as a sharing of electrons. So bond which is formed because of or due to the sharing of electron is called as a covalent bonding. This is a point we have to understand here. Now, let's talk about the second bond, that is a coordinate covalent or a dative bond. So what is a coordinate covalent? You will see or you will come to know after this study of two bonds, that is ionic and covalent. I'm going to talk about coordinate bond in detail in a further slide, but I'm going to give you a superficial information regarding this covalent bond. Now, covalent bonding is like this. Suppose at the center there is a positive charge atom or mostly metal atom is there. After it is capacity to combine with other atoms, that is a valency is overfilled, then whenever it react with other atoms with its inner electrons is called as a coordinate or covalent, or that is called dative bond. So let's see it further. Until now you should know about coordinate bonding is that if the valence is over, then only the atoms is combining with other atoms, and how it's combining with the help of dative bond. So let's see it further. So in this sesh lesson you will learn about the ionic and electrovalent bonds in very detail. The coordinate bond is are not that much important in this lesson. So we are going to talk about ionic and the electrovalent, that is ionic or electrovalent bonds in very detailed manner. So let's see it. Let's discover it. Okay. So let's move further. Now, what is a chemical bond? Again, we are going to talk about that. A chemical bond is a force of attraction between atoms. Earlier slide we have seen that chemical bond is what? A force of attraction which hold the constituent atoms or maybe ions. So here we going to talk about the proper definition, that is a chemical bond is the force of attraction between the atoms that leads to the formation of chemical compounds. The bond occurs because of electrostatic force, okay, and through the sharing of electrons. So here the same definition is there, but we have talk in detailed manner. So chemical bond is force of attraction, that we know that between the two atoms which leads to the formation of chemical compound. So what is a compound? Whenever the atoms combine forms the chemical compound. And this is bond or what is the reason to form this bond? First is your electrostatic force of attraction between the atoms of opposite charges. That is opposite charges. If you talk about the NaCl, Na has a positive charge, Cl has a negative charge. So there is an attraction between that electrostatic force or the attraction between nucleus and the electron, that is positive nucleus and electron charge is negative. And the second point that we have to consider is that through the sharing of electrons, that is in a covalent bond. So there are two reasons that we have discovered up till now. What are this? That is first electrostatic force, second is a electron, that is a covalent bonding is there. I hope you guys are clear with chemical bonding. Okay, so let's move further. What are the things we are going to talk about? So atom lose, these are the 3 points that we have to understand. Atom lose or gain or share electron to attain the octet configuration. So what is this octet configuration and stability? We'll see it. Second point I'm reading. The force of attraction is the result of the behavior of a outermost or a valence electron. Okay, based on these forces, different types of bonds are formed, giving to rise to different properties in compound. So let's discover step by step what is this. So let's talk about first atom loses or gain or share electron to attain the octet configuration. See, now the stability word is very important here. So whenever we talk about the stability, that means every atoms present in a periodic table is going to attain a stability. See, when you talk about the noble gases, they're already stable because they have completed their duplet in case of helium and octet in other cases. of the atoms. So what is octet configuration? So I have already discussed, but I'm going to talk about again. The octet configuration is defined as, in the outermost shell, if the 8 electrons are there, then that atom or that electronic configuration of the atom is called as a stable one. So every atom is trying to pull or trying to share or trying to lose or trying to gain an electron for maintaining this octet configuration at the outermost of the shell, and then only it going to form a stability. So this is called octet configuration. So for that purpose, atom can lose, gain or share the electron. This is the first point we have already covered. Now let's move to the second point. What it tells about the force of attraction is a result of behavior of the outermost or a valence electron. So already we discussed about this. If we draw a structure of the atom, you will see a structure like this, and that electron is revolving around the nucleus. So as we see, there are many shells can be find out in the, suppose this is a nucleus, this is another shell, this will be the another shell. So if the outermost shell, see, as we discussed in earlier, if the electron is far away from the nucleus, then it's going to responsible for the other showing of the other activity. Okay, so what is that other activity? So here in this case, you're finding this electron. So this is the outermost. So what is the outermost electron? This is the outermost, or this is also called as a valence electron. So are you getting my point? This is also called as a valence electron. So this electron which is outer or which is far from the nucleus is going to responsible or exhibit the property of that atom. As we move further, we're going to talk about this, that is based on, let's use a spotlight here. So based on these forces, different types of bonds are formed, giving to rise a different properties of compound. According to this, if the atom is loses the electron, it gain a positive charge, or if it's gain the electron, it's going to have a negative charge. Or if they share the electron, there is a formation of the covalent bonding or ionic bonding. So according to the above 2 points which we have discussed here and here, are responsible for the formation of give rise to the properties of different compounds. This is the point we have to understand. Now let's talk about the strength. The strength of the chemical bond means what? How much strong is that chemical bond? Whatever the atoms interactions happen, and because of that there is a rise of the chemical bond. So how that chemical bond is strong, how much it can bear, how much strong is that? So the strength of a chemical bond varies considerably, leading to the formation of either strong or primary bonds and a weak or a secondary bond. So the variation is happening in this strength, which leads to the formation of strong or primary or weak or secondary bond. So whenever you heard the word strong, then it's also called as a primary. When you call bond is very weak, it's also called as a secondary. So this word we have to understand. So what are these things? Let's consider here. So strong bonds include ionic and electrovalent bond or covalent bonds and coordinate bond. So we have whatever we have discussed, that is the types of bonds. We have discussed ionic, it's also called the electrovalent. Then covalent and coordinate bonds are classified into or fall into the category called as the strong bonds. So we have to always remember thing. These three types of bond, that is ionic, maybe it is ionic, maybe it is covalent, or maybe it is a coordinate. These are strong bonds. Okay, the another category is called weak bonds, include dipole-dipole interaction and the hydrogen bonds. So what is dipole-dipole interactions and the hydrogen bonds? We will study it. Okay. Okay, before we move ahead, I'm going to talk about what is dipole-dipole and what is hydrogen bond sharing. Okay. Okay. So here we're going to talk about the Dipole-dipole interactions and the hydrogen bonding. Okay, let's talk about first dipole-dipole interaction here. When you talk about a dipole, that means suppose, let's take example of HCl. Okay, I'm going to talk about here. Suppose this is a hydrogen molecule and this is a chlorine molecule. Now they are close enough to form a chemical bonding, but because but because the chlorine is highly electronegative. Why it's highly electronegative? Because in the outer shell of chlorine there are a 7 electron, and in case of hydrogen there is only 1 electron is there. So chlorine try to snatch a outermost electron from the hydrogen shell towards it. As it snatch the electron, but it is not going, or it is not get apart from the hydrogen, because they are both sharing a bond, shares a bond. So because of this, the electron of a hydrogen is slightly towards the chlorine. Because of this, the chlorine develops a partial negative charge and the hydrogen develops partial positive charge. So now in this molecule, that is we are talking about the HCl molecule, now they possess a charge, positive and negative, and that is called a dipole-dipole interaction. So positive charge and negative charge, when they interaction, is called a dipole-dipole interaction. So this is a dipole-dipole, but which is very weak. Why? Because of only chlorine is snatching electron towards the it, so that's why there is appearance of that positive and negative charge. So that is very weak. So now let's talk about what are the hydrogen bonds. So when you talk about the structure or the molecule of water, you will find a structure like this, correct? But now let's talk about the another molecule of hydrogen. Now, as we are very clear that hydrogen is highly electronegative. See, chlorine also highly electronegative, like which is a more electronegative atom is oxygen. So it has a lone pair of electron. Okay, let's talk about lone pair electron. So in this water molecule, the hydrogen which is present here is form a bond towards this oxygen. So because of this, see, because of this, what going to happen? There is a formation of a bond between two water molecule, and that is called hydrogen bonding. See, hydrogen having only one electron in its outermost shell, it can share that electron very easily. So these are the things we have to consider. So this is called a dipole-dipole interaction, and this is called a hydrogen bond, which are fall into the category that are the weak bonds. Okay, so in this slide, what we have studied is that what are the strong bonds and what are the weak bonds. Okay, so let's move for the further slide. So the three main types of the atomic bonds are, whatever we are studying, we are joining those connecting points and we are keeping some points in front of you. So what are they exactly? Let's study. So first bond is called as a ionic bonds. So what is ionic bonds? They are formed because of a non-directional. The word is here is used is non-directional intra-atomic forces. Intra, it is inter-atomic forces and electron transfer. They give structures of a high coordination and there is a electrical conductivity at a low temperature. So what is ionic bonds? They are formed because of the non-directional inter-atomic forces. So ionic bonds, whenever there are positive and negative charges combined, it's called ionic bond, and they show this high conduction or high coordination, and there is a electrical conductivity at a low temperature. So this is a unique feature of the ionic bonds. Let's talk about the covalent bonds, that is point B. They are formed because of the localized directional. What is localized direction? They are close enough and they have a proper direction, large interatomic forces and in electron sharing. That means ionic bonds are when we compare ionic bonds and a covalent bond. So covalent bond is stronger in case of or as compared to the ionic bonds. So covalent bond is stronger because it is a localized directional large interatomic forces and because of the electron sharing. So they help from structures. They help form structures of a low coordination and low conductivity at low temperature. That is for pure crystal. So how the pure crystal form? Because of the covalent bonds. Now, the third point is here is metallic bonds. The word itself suggests something that is metals. Okay, so they are formed due to the non-directional large interatomic forces. So here we are seeing the words again and again. Repeating word is that directional and non-directional. So what is directional and non-directional? So whenever the electrons moving in a one direction is called a direction. Whenever the electron are moving randomly is called as a non-directional. Okay, so these are the points you have to understand. So let's move for the further information about this chemical bonding chapter. I hope everybody is getting my points regarding this. Okay, so as I'm assuming that every single point which I'm trying to convey, you're getting it, and then I'm moving forward. Now let's talk about the ionic or electrovalent bond. So when you talk about the ionic bond or electrovalent bond, now tell me students why it's called electrovalent. Electron, valent, valency, and that is because occur because of the positive and negative charge. So it's called electrovalent bonds. So ionic bonding is the complete transfer of a valence electron between the atoms. Ionic bonds occur between metals, that is electron donor. As I mentioned earlier, metals are known as a electron donor because it loses the electron, and non-metals are electron gainer because they accept the electrons. Okay, so because of the electrostatic force of attraction between positive and negative ions, so ionic bonds form because of what? So let's talk about in a diagrammatic way. What is this? Suppose this is one atom, this is another atom. Let's show its nucleus as well. This is the nucleus of this atom, this is the nucleus of this atom. Now let's talk about this. In this atom, this electron is revolving around in this file and this electron is revolving in this case. Okay, suppose in this case, see there are many orbits are inside. Same in this case, but we are talking about or we are considering the outermost orbit. So this is atom A and this is atom B. Now in atom A, if that electron loses or it loses the electron, this electron is gained by this atom, and now this electron start revolving around this nucleus of B. So what happened in this case? The atom A is considered as an electron donor because for its stability purpose, for making its octet or making its duplet, it has loses its electron, and that electron is accepted by the another atom, in this case is B, because for the stability purpose again. So metal lose their one electron or many two electron. In case of sodium, it loses one electron for completion of the octet. In zinc is case, in this case, in the case of zinc, it's donate two electrons. So in case of chlorine, it accept the electron because the outermost shell having only the 7 electron. So to if it accept one electron, it form 8 electron in outermost shell, and that's why it's completed or its approaches towards the stability completed. So these are the basic things why the bond form, and the bond which is formed because of the positive and negative ions is called ionic or electrovalent bonds. Okay, so these are the things we have to consider. Now let's move further. That is, ionic or electrovalent bonds are formed under the condition of a low ionization energy. This is very important point, students. Low ionization energy, high electron affinity, high lattice energy. Let's discuss this 3 points. First, discuss low ionization. What do you mean by ionization? Ionization means formation of ions. In case of sodium, it easily form a ion, that is positive charge, by simply losing one electron. correct? But in case of you talking about chlorine, chlorine is not going to form ion by losing electron, but it can accept the electron. So ionization, here we're going to talk about a low. So the amount of energy required very low to form ions. This is the first criteria. Second criteria, high electron affinity. Someone has to lose the electron, someone has to gain that electron. So affinity towards that electron is very, very important. In a positive way or negative way, it has to be there. Then only the bond formation can take place. The third point, that is a high lattice energy. Lattice means nothing but a surface or to form a crystal. That is important in this case. So high lattice energy should be there. So these are the 3 points are responsible for formation of a ionic or a electrovalent bond. Okay, so these are the points we have to consider. So why does the ionic bonding occurs? The question arises, why does ionic bonding occurs? We have already discussed in the earlier slide, but still some points are confusing. So what those points? So let's discover about it, let's discuss about it. And why does ionic bonding occur? So the question is here in front of you. Let's resolve it. So it occurs in the metals. So ionic bonds mostly occurs in the metals because metals have a few valence electron and metals tend to lose the electrons to attain the octet configuration and achieve noble gas configuration. Oh, what do you mean by noble gas configuration, student? When you talk about the noble gas configuration, that means they are stable in their electronic configuration. Correct. But when you talk about the other atoms, apart from the noble gases or the inert gases, they are not stable. So in this case, they want to achieve a configuration, the electronic configuration as possible as nearest towards the noble gases. So in these cases, the metal try to lose because they have extra electrons. So they can lose electrons and they can attain the octet configuration. This is the case or this is the criteria in the metal. It occurs in the non-metal since non-metals readily accept the electron to achieve noble gas configuration. So what are the difference between metals and non-metals? Let's study. So metal has a tendency to lose electron while non-metals non-metals accept the electron. So what are the difference? The difference is in front of you. So metal are known to lose electron because they are electron donor. But in case of non-metals, they are accept the electron, hence they are electron acceptor. Okay, so they lose the electron and they gain the electron. So it occurs in the metals and non-metals. So there is an interaction between metals and non-metal because of this, and best example is NaCl. Sodium is a metal which loses the one electron which is accepted by the chlorine, and they forms a bond that is called a common salt or NaCl. Okay, so let's move further. So you obviously got the information regarding this. So why does ionic bond form? Because of the metal tendency to lose the electron and non-metal tendency to gain the electron. This is the answer behind this. Now let's talk about the characteristic of the ionic bonds. When you talk about the characteristic of the ionic bond, the first characteristic is this. Ionic compounds have a high melting and the boiling points because they are the bond which is very strong. So they possess a high melting point and boiling point. They are dense because their crystalline forms contain crystalline lattice of tightly packed molecule. So when you talk about the ionic bonds, they are overlap in a such a way, or they are form a bond in a such a way, they have a strong crystal lattice of tightly packed molecules. Molecules are so tightly packed and they form a dense structure. So their crystalline, third point is that their crystalline forms are always soluble in water. And now tell me why they are soluble in water. Let's take a very popular example, salt. When you add a pinch of salt into the water and stir it, you will find all the salt get dissolved into the water. Why happens so? Earlier it's a crystalline form, and the next moment whenever you dissolve it, it is vanished over there. So why this happen? Because they have a strong ionic bond, and whenever they add into the water, this ionic bond gets separated, or the ionic bond which is in between sodium and chlorine, just because of the sharing of electron, I mean donation of electron by the sodium and acceptance by the chlorine, it gets vanished, and they form a soluble things, that is a crystal are soluble in the water. This is a major characteristics of the ionic bonds. Crystal cannot conduct electricity in the solid state. That is another unique feature of the ionic bonds. Crystal which are the form, which are the neutral, which are not able to conduct the electricity in their solid states. These are the characteristics we have seen just. And another characteristic are in front of you. The chemical bond generates two oppositely charged ions, that is positive and negative. The metal loses electrons to become a positively charged cation, while non-metal accept those electrons to become a negatively charged anion. So there is a formation of the